I want to say a few words about the expression that we use in our prayers all the time and that appears in our weekly reading in the song that Moshe and the Jewish people were singing after the deliverance at the sea, after the splitting of the sea and after they were saved. And that is the last verse in the song is Hashem Yimloch Leolam Vaed. Hashem will be king, will rule forever and ever. And of course the expression Leolam Vaed is very common. We say this, for instance, in after the first verse of Shema, Baruch Shem Kvod Melchuto Leolam Vaed. And in various prayers we say Leolam Vaed. And probably just in the morning prayer we say this expression quite a number of times. So the question is, what exactly does it mean, Leolam Vaed? As I translated it forever and ever, from the context it seems it means forever, but what exactly is the actual meaning of the words, especially the word Vaed? Okay, the word Leolam does mean forever in most of the places in the Torah. It's known that the word Olam is a very interesting word that in more in a later Hebrew, I'm not talking about modern Hebrew, which was a relatively recent development, but I'm talking about later rabbinical Hebrew, the times of the Mishnah and even earlier, the times of Second Temple. There were quite a number of changes, and there were quite a number of words that came from Aramaic, for instance, the words that we now consider and usually are very accustomed to, and we think that these are the old Hebrew words. Sometimes it's actually a new word, a relatively new word, and sometimes it's a word that acquired an additional meaning over time. So in particular, the opinion of Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra is that the word Olam in the Torah always means eternity. It does not mean universe. Today, when we often say the word Olam, whether it's in our prayers, whether it's in the blessings that we make, we usually mean the word universe. It's a very common word, of course. In all our blessings we say, Baruch Ata Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, that Hashem is king of the universe. There's a question about the first prayer we say in the morning, Adon Olam, whether it means eternal king, like the biblical meaning of Olam, or whether it means the master of the universe. Adon is master, but Olam here can mean in terms of space or in terms of time. Hashem is eternal, or Hashem is master of universe. Exactly what do we mean? Or the blessings that end with Chei HaOlamim or Chai HaOlamim. Do we mean that Hashem is rules over, gives life to all the worlds? Olamim here is worlds. Or Olamim here is again eternity. Hashem rules forever. So all kinds of places in the prayer where we're not exactly sure. There are different opinions whether Olam means in terms of space or in terms of time. And there are also disputes about whether there are any biblical usages of the word Olam in terms of space, in terms of universe, the world. Or this is a later rabbinical usage that maybe came from Aramaic. All of these are subjects to dispute. But at least in terms of this particular expression here, Olam Vaed, Leolam Vaed, one would assume that here Olam certainly should mean time. Hashem should rule Leolam forever. Still, it seems from Rashbam and certain Aramaic translations, not the standard Onkelos translation, but certain other ones, it may seem that Olam here actually does mean universe, in the sense of that the whole world will know Hashem is king. Once we enter the land of Israel, once the miracles will happen, it's known that other religions, at least Christianity and Islam for sure, are based on Judaism, and the main event, the most important events, the Exodus from Egypt and the Sinai revelation, the coming to the land of Israel, all those events are brought as a kind of miraculous miracles that happen to the entire nation, not to just one individual, that are much harder to check and verify whether those miracles happened. So that's why the two major world religions do agree and admit that it's the Jewish people who had all those miracles. So Rashbam, that was grandson of Rashi, Rabbi Shmuel ben Meir, he says that when we enter the land, the idea that Hashem rules over the world will be spread all over. So Ed, according to this, may mean edut, a kind of testimony, that this will be the testimony in the entire world about Hashem. Hashem Yimloch Leolam Vaed. Hashem will rule over the whole world, or will be accepted as a rule over the whole world, as this is the witnessing. This, however, this approach is definitely not a standard approach. The vast majority of commentators think that Leolam here means forever. As I said, it could be that in the biblical usage, Leolam always means forever and can never mean universe. Maybe it's a later meaning. But the question is Vaed. That's the biggest difficulty. Rashi famously says here that Vaed is not, usually when the word Vav is before the word, it means end. Of course, it's known that in Hebrew, a lot of times the shorter words are attached to the main word. It's all one word. So when Vav is in the beginning of a word, 99% of the time it's not part of the root, it's not part of the word itself. It just means end. End something. So Rashi famously says that here it's not the case. According to Rashi, Vav is part of the word itself. It's not end. So what does the word itself mean? Rashi says it also means eternity. So it's a double language, Leolam Vaed, forever and ever. So Vaed, according to Rashi, the way I saw in the ArtScroll explanation of Rashi, is that the root is Yud Ayin Dalet, but Yud becomes the Vav. These are technical grammar issues. The main point of Rashi is that Vav is not end. Rather, it's Vaed is a word in itself. Vaed from Ya'ad, it means basically eternity. So Hashem will rule forever and ever. He will rule for all eternity. On the other hand, Ibn Ezra and many other commentators think that Vav is indeed end, as what this letter usually means before any word, and Ed. So what's the word Ed? Ibn Ezra, as it's known, wrote 2 commentaries to the book of Shemot. The other 4 books of Chumash, there is only 1 commentary of Ibn Ezra, but in the book of Shemot there was a commentary that was standardly printed, and then at some point, I think a couple of 100 years ago, they found a manuscript of a different commentary. And many people who were learning Ibn Ezra already noticed that something is wrong about the standard printed commentary. It's longer than usual. It sometimes references, Ibn Ezra references himself in other commentaries of other books, and it's not found in that commentary. So the assumption was there must be a different commentary of Ibn Ezra, and indeed this assumption was confirmed when the manuscript was found. So today, in standard editions, you'll find the longer Ibn Ezra, they call it long commentary, it's actually longer, and in some editions you could find a short commentary of Ibn Ezra, which is probably the original commentary, the one that was written together with other 4 books. The longer one may have been written by a student, by the way, but even if it's written by Ibn Ezra, it was written separately for some reason, either before or after. Some people say it was written after he finished with the entire book of Torah. For some reason he wrote another commentary, a longer commentary to the book of Shemot. Maybe he planned to write longer commentaries to other books as well. Whatever the case may be, it's the shorter commentary where the Ibn Ezra here brings a bunch of opinions. One opinion, he says that Ed here is from the word witness. Of course, the word Ed does mean witness in a number of places. So according to this, again, the emphasis is that it's witnessing of the fact that Hashem will rule forever. But he himself says no. The word Ed here is like the word ad. It's a preposition until. So what this basically means is that Leolam Vaed, until what? Until forever. From ever till ever. Basically, that would be the literal translation, but the last word, Me'olam Vaed Olam, or Leolam Vaed Olam, the last word Olam is missing, as often the Torah implies it. He brings an example of this in the book of Yeshayahu. We actually say it in the morning prayers on Shabbat. Shochen ad marom v'kadosh shemo. Shochen ad. That Hashem rules or exists. Ad means until. Until when? Until forever. So the same way here, the word ad implies olam. Me'olam ve'ad olam. There are expressions like that in other parts of the Torah. Me'olam ve'ad olam. So Hashem rules from ever till ever, forever. So the second olam is missing, and ad becomes ed because it's the end of the sentence, Ibn Ezra says. So Leolam Vaed, according to this, is Leolam ve'ad olam. That's the meaning of the expression. Again, as I mentioned, most people intuitively understand Leolam Vaed to mean forever and ever, and there is no real difference in terms of understanding the actual expression between Rashi and Ibn Ezra, although there is a difference between them and Rashbam. But in terms of the specifics, how to translate the word Vaed and how does it work grammatically, on that there is a major difference, whether Vav is part of the word itself or its end, and what the word ed or ad here means. So that's all I wanted to say for today on this interesting expression, Leolam Vaed. Hashem rules forever and ever. And if you like this video, please press like.